I love to get great comments back on our videos that we've done. And so today a special shout out goes out to Marty, who pointed out to me a brand new application which I'm going to show you today. It's called the Cruise Globe. Shows you exactly where all of your past cruises have gone. It's fantastic. Let's get to it. So I'm going to start this by showing you what you can get at the end. What I've done in Cruise Globe is I have entered all of the cruises that we've done since 2017. So we've sailed 33,613 nautical miles, 147 days of cruising on 11 different ships. And so you can see on the map here, here's what they look like. There will be some trips to Alaska, a trip to Mexico, a couple of transatlantics, a trip around the UK, a trip into Norway, several trips across the Mediterranean. So that's what you can see when you're done. So you start out by entering thecruiseglobe.com. You say join now for free. What it will do is ask you for an email address, and it'll verify the address. There's no passwords. It saves everything based on that email address. What you have to enter for each cruise are these 5 things. You have to enter the name of the ship, the day it started and from where, the day it ended and from where. And as soon as you do that, then it will do this kind of a map. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to zoom into this map so that you can see the kind of detail. So you made a stop in Ketchikan. This shows where the ship actually docked in Ketchikan and detail of the town. Incredible level of detail. Google Earth detail. So you can see where you actually stayed at where the ship was, all of those kinds of details. So now let me zoom it back out, and I'm going to start at the beginning. I'm going to go back to our trip in 2017. We did a Princess ship, the Caribbean Princess, you can see here, starting out of Southampton, and it was a round trip. So you can see all the places that we stopped, and then from there, in 2021, after the cruise restart, we did the MS Eurodam. Now, what you see, remember, this is where the ship actually went. So originally, the Eurodam was supposed to start up here in Venice, but Venice canceled having large ships come in, and so they were going to sail out of the commercial port in Venice, and at the last minute changed their minds and sailed out of Trieste instead. And so you can see the stops that we made along the way. This was a fantastic trip. We were sailing at about 40% occupancy. It was a wonderful thing to get back to cruising. Okay, the next trip after that, we did an Alaska trip. So this was one, a round trip Seattle. We did with some family. I've done a video on that one. And then we did our first transatlantic. So you can see here's what a transatlantic is supposed to do. We left out of Southampton, and we sailed north to Bergen. We made a couple of stops in Ireland on the way, stopped at Ponta Delgada in the ocean, and made our way across to New York. Now the reason I show you that is because our next trip, which was the longest one we've ever done, it was a back-to-back-to-back on Norwegian, and you can see we started in Haifa, Israel. Went to Ashdod, Israel. Of course, this isn't a trip that could be done today. We then went to Limassol, Cyprus. You can see we sailed up to Istanbul. We went over to Italy and made our way to Barcelona, to Lisbon, and across the Atlantic. We were again supposed to stop here, where the Enchanted Princess stopped in Ponta Delgada. But we had the aftermath of a hurricane. And so as the ship turned to go up there, we decided we actually couldn't go there, and we wound up turning south again and sailed a different course. So instead of traveling this course to Manhattan, which we had done earlier on the Enchanted Princess, we were now on the southerly course to Manhattan. So, and this one also shows the fact we were supposed to make stops in Spain, but we didn't because of a strike in Lisbon. Okay, then this one shows the other things you can do with this program with Cruise Globe. We started this. This was an MSC trip. It was a 7-day round trip Rome. But at the end of the trip, we were going to get off the ship and we're going to travel back to Nice, which is right over here next to Monaco. And we decided that we would like to see if we could get off, because MSC allows embarkation and disembarkation at every port, and so they don't discount the fare. You still have to pay for the extra day, but you can actually get off the ship in general, which we did. So this was a 7-day cruise, of which we only took the first 6. So this shows where we actually went. Then from there, this was a back-to-back Neustadt ship. It went from Athens to Rome, and then Rome back to Rome. Covers some really neat ports in the Mediterranean. And so then we came back and did another. This was a part of a land and sea trip. This is the sea portion. So we started in Vancouver, wound up going into Whittier. And one of the things I want to show you on this trip is when you go into Glacier Bay National Park, this shows you where you actually go. So you're going to see up here, we sailed into Glacier Bay and we sailed down this particular arm, sailed back, sailed up this arm, and then sailed back out. And this is the point where you do the 180-degree view of the glacier. It's a fantastic part of the trip and one of the reasons to do Glacier Bay National Park. So this map gives you the kind of detail that you can use to relate stories of what happened on your cruise ships. Okay, then this is the one we did just this last year when we went to Norway. And you can see when you go to stops in Norway, how you sail up the fjords to go into Olden or into Andalsnes. And and then the most recent trip where we went to from San Diego, and this is an 11-day Holland America trip. The normal trips to Mexico go to Cabo and Mazatlan and Puerto Vallarta, those 3 here. But if you go on a longer trip, you're able to go further north and further south in the process, and makes for a great trip. So anyway, so what we're going to do next is we're going to do the Panama Canal. So it will come down along here, come across through Panama, stop over here in Aruba, and wind our way back up to Miami. So it'll be wonderful to see that on a map, and we'll be able to show you next time. So what do you think? Isn't this awesome? And then for any of these trips, let me pick a trip, Norwegian Epic. You can say, okay, I want to share the information on this. This will load a summary of this trip, a card, like a business card looking, that actually you can share with someone that shows the detail, and it gives a QR code that they can use their phone to actually go see it. And of course you can download it or share it on various places. And then one of how the site makes money is when people purchase maps of the trip, hard copy maps that are beautiful maps. And I just think this is slicker than can be. So what do you think? Thanks for watching today. We're not going to have videos for a couple of weeks because it's packing day. That's why I'm wearing this. We're off to our next adventure. So real soon after we get back, we'll show you some amazing shots of what we actually got to see. Until then, safe travels.